August 23rd, 1962. New York, Waldorf Astoria Hotel, room 2728. Marilyn Monroe sat on the edge of the bed, in her hand a letter. Your contract has been terminated. No tears in her eyes, because she had no tears left to cry. That night something died, not Marilyn. Her dreams. And 13 days later, Marilyn followed. August 23rd, Thursday night, New York City, Waldorf Astoria Hotel, 27th floor, room 2728. Marilyn Monroe was alone. The room was luxurious. King-sized bed, crystal chandeliers. The view overlooked Central Park. Manhattan's lights filtered through the window. But Marilyn saw none of it. She sat on the edge of the bed, still wearing her evening dress, makeup smudged, hair disheveled, barefoot. An hour ago she'd come from a film premiere, a party for Something's Got to Give. Marilyn was the lead, or she was supposed to be, because the studio had fired her. In her hand was a letter, from 20th Century Fox, written in legal language, but the essence was simple. Your contract has been terminated, due to unprofessional conduct. Effective date, June 8, 1962. Marilyn slowly placed the letter on the floor. This wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time she'd been fired. It wasn't the first time she'd been called unprofessional. But this time was different. This time she knew it would be the last. Because Marilyn Monroe was now 36 years old. In Hollywood, 36 meant old for a woman, especially for a woman known as a sex symbol. There were young blondes now. Jane Mansfield, Mamie Van Doren, younger, cheaper, more controllable. Marilyn stood, walked to the window, looked down, 27 floors high. The thought came, a brief thought, a dark thought. Could it be this easy? But she stepped away from the window. Not yet. She wasn't ready yet. The phone rang. Marilyn didn't even look. She knew who it was. Her agent, or her therapist, or a journalist, or another concerned friend. The phone rang until it stopped. Then silence. Deep, heavy, suffocating silence. And Marilyn sat in that silence, for hours, motionless, because there was nothing left to do. The dreams were over, but there was something Marilyn didn't know. The night she spent in that room would shape her final 13 days. Because that night, Marilyn Monroe made a decision, not to give up on living. Worse, to give up on hope. Marilyn stood up, opened the minibar. There was champagne. She didn't drink it, because alcohol didn't stop the pain. It only postponed it. She returned to the bed, opened her bag, pulled out a notebook, an old notebook, pages yellowed, from 1956. She opened the first page, in her own handwriting. My goals: 1. To be a serious actress. 2. To win an Oscar. 3. To be loved. 4. To be happy. 5. To have a family. Marilyn looked at the list, smiled, a bitter smile, because 6 years later, none of them had come true. 1. To be a serious actress. Marilyn had tried. She'd gone to the actor's studio, taken lessons from Lee Strasberg, read Dostoevsky, watched Chekhov plays. But Hollywood didn't find her serious. They always gave her the same roles. Dumb blonde, sexy girl, comic woman. Some Like It Hot was magnificent. Critics praised it. But she didn't even get an Oscar nomination. Because Marilyn Monroe wasn't serious. She was just a star. 2. To win an Oscar. It would never happen. Marilyn knew, because giving an Oscar meant showing respect. And Hollywood didn't respect Marilyn. 3. To be loved. Marilyn had been married 3 times. First marriage, Jim Doherty. When she was 16, she married to escape the orphanage. There was no love. Second marriage, Joe DiMaggio, famous baseball player. He loved her, but not her. He loved Marilyn Monroe, the icon, the image. Third marriage, Arthur Miller, playwright, intellectual. Finally someone who loved Marilyn's mind. But then he changed too. Marilyn found Arthur's note in his diary. Marilyn sometimes becomes unbearable. I regret it. They divorced. And now Marilyn was alone. 36 years old. 3 divorces. Labeled too complicated. 4. To be happy. Marilyn didn't even laugh. This was the most absurd goal. Happiness. What did that even mean? Waking up in the morning and saying I want to live today. Because Marilyn hadn't felt that in months. 5. To have a family. This was the most painful one. Marilyn had gotten pregnant. Twice, miscarried both times. Doctors said, endometriosis. Having children will be difficult. But Marilyn had tried so hard. Because this was all she wanted. A child, a home, a family. But it didn't happen. None of it happened. Marilyn closed the notebook, threw it on the floor. Stupid dreams, she whispered. Stupid, stupid dreams. But what was truly painful was that Marilyn still hoped. That night, in that room, she still waited for the phone to ring. For someone to say, Marilyn, we want you. But the phone didn't ring, and each passing silent minute stole another piece of Marilyn's soul. Midnight, Marilyn went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror. Who is this? The face was familiar but also foreign. Marilyn Monroe, the world's most famous face, the most photographed woman, the most imagined, most desired, most talked about. But Marilyn didn't see her in the mirror. She saw Norma Jeane, the little girl, that orphanage child. The girl called Ugly Duckling. "You're Marilyn," she said to the mirror. To herself, "You're a star." But the voice rang hollow, unconvincing, because Marilyn Monroe was a lie, a construct, a brand. The real person was Norma Jeane, and Norma Jeane was still that small, scared, unloved child. Marilyn began removing her makeup, slowly, layer by layer. She wiped off her lipstick, her mascara, her foundation, her blush, and as each layer came off, Marilyn Monroe left too. Norma Jeane remained, 36 years old, tired, broken, lost. "Hello, Norma," she said to the mirror. "We haven't seen each other in a long time." Tears came, silently, slowly, because Norma Jeane knew Marilyn Monroe wasn't working anymore. Studios didn't want her. The public was getting tired. Young stars were coming. And without Marilyn Monroe, who was Norma Jeane, nobody. Marilyn crouched on the floor, on the cold bathroom tiles, drew her knees to her chest, and cried. She hadn't cried like this in a long time. Deep, gut-wrenching, childlike crying. Because in that moment she understood. She was lost. Not just in her career, in herself. She'd lost Norma Jeane, while becoming Marilyn Monroe. But Marilyn Monroe was being lost now too. What remained? A ghost. At 3:47 a.m., Marilyn came out of the bathroom. And she did something nobody knew. She pulled a pen and paper from her bag, and began to write. A letter. But to whom? Marilyn sat on the bed, a notebook on her lap, a trembling pen, and began to write. "Dear, I don't know who you are. Maybe you're someone in the future wondering about my story. Maybe you're a journalist, a fan, a historian, or maybe you're just another lost soul, like me. I want to tell you something I've never told anyone. I am unhappy. It's simple, it's clear, but nobody wants to see it, because I'm Marilyn Monroe. I'm supposed to smile, I'm supposed to shine, I'm supposed to be happy, but I'm not. I never was. Do you know what it's like to be famous? Everyone knows you but nobody knows you. Everyone wants you but nobody loves you. Everyone talks about you but nobody listens to you. I'm not an icon, I'm a human being, but nobody remembers that. Tonight I'm here, in this hotel room, alone, and I realized I'll always be alone, because people love Marilyn Monroe, but not Norma Jeane, and I'm Norma Jeane, that small, scared, unloved girl. I'm 36 years old, and I'm still that girl. I had dreams, big dreams. I wanted to be a serious actress, win an Oscar, have a family, but none of it happened, and now I'm so tired. Tired of fighting, tired of smiling, tired of saying I'm fine. Maybe it's time to stop, time to breathe, and maybe time to go. I love you, whoever you are. I hope you're happy. I hope you've realized your dreams. I hope you're loved, and I hope you'll remember me. Not as Marilyn Monroe, as Norma Jeane, as a girl who just wanted to be happy. Goodbye, Nenjay. Marilyn put down the pen, read the letter, once, twice, then slowly folded it, put it in an envelope, and wrote on the envelope, "To whoever finds this." That letter stayed in Marilyn's bag. 13 days later, on August 5th, when Marilyn died, police found that letter, but never published it, because the words inside were too painful, too real. 4:30 a.m. Marilyn was still awake. She couldn't sleep. Even sleeping pills weren't working anymore. She turned on the TV. An old movie was playing. Black and white, from the 1940s. Marilyn watched, but didn't see. Her mind was elsewhere. Flashback, 1946. Norma Jeane, 20 years old. Just arrived in Los Angeles. One suitcase, one dream, one hope. Went to her first agency, Blue Book Model Agency. Owner Emmeline Snively looked at her, up and down. "Your hair is curly. Straighten it. Your nose is big. Get surgery. Your name is too ordinary. Change it." And Norma Jeane did it all. Straightened her hair, got nose surgery, changed her name. Marilyn Monroe was born, and Norma Jeane died. Or so she thought. Flashback, 1950. Her first big role. The Asphalt Jungle. A small role, but impactful. When Marilyn appeared on screen, something happened. Audiences noticed her. Who's that blonde girl? And Hollywood understood. This girl is special. But why special? Her beauty? No. There were more beautiful actresses. Her talent? No. There were better actors. Then what? Her fragility. When people looked at Marilyn, they saw something broken, something they wanted to protect, and that made her a star. But it also destroyed her, because being broken meant continuing to break. Flashback, 1954. Marriage to Joe DiMaggio. Lasted 9 months. Joe loved her, but he was also jealous. "Don't wear that dress," he'd say. "Don't make that film," he'd say. "Be my wife, not Marilyn Monroe," he'd say. But without being Marilyn Monroe, who could Marilyn be? They divorced, and Marilyn was alone. Again. Flashback, 1956. Arthur Miller. finally, an intellectual man, someone who understood her. They married. The first year was wonderful. They read books, they discussed, they laughed. But then Marilyn got pregnant, and miscarried. Then pregnant again, miscarried again. Arthur changed, became impatient, distant. Marilyn found his diary. One page was open. Living with Marilyn is very difficult, sometimes unbearable. That day something broke, irreparably. Marilyn turned off the TV. The flashbacks were over, but the pain wasn't, because pain never ends. It just changes shape. That morning Marilyn made a decision, but nobody would ever know, because that decision wasn't verbal. It was silent, deep inside, at the bottom of her soul. The decision: I can't take it anymore. 7 a.m. The sun was rising. Manhattan was glittering. Marilyn went to the window, looked one last time. It was a beautiful city, a beautiful world, but not beautiful for her. The phone rang. Again. This time she answered. Hello, Marilyn. Finally. It's Patricia. We were worried. After last night's party you disappeared. I'm fine, Marilyn said, her voice flat, empty. Marilyn, I can tell from your voice you're not fine. Did something happen? No, I'm just tired. What about lunch today? Let's get you together. Have some fun. No, Patricia. Thank you, but I think I just need to go home. Home. To California. Yes, home. Okay, honey. You know, but if you need to call me, you know. I know. Thank you. Hung up. Marilyn packed her suitcase, mechanically, emotionlessly. Dresses, shoes, makeup, books, and that letter. The envelope marked, to whoever finds this. Put it in the suitcase. At the very bottom. Maybe someday someone would find it. Maybe they'd understand. 9 a.m. Marilyn checked out. The receptionist smiled. Miss Monroe, how was your stay? It was lovely. Marilyn lied. Thank you. Should I call you a taxi? Yes, please. I'm going to the airport. In the taxi, the driver kept looking in the mirror. Are you Marilyn Monroe? Yes. Wow. My daughter loves you. Can I get an autograph? Marilyn smiled. That famous smile, but tired. Of course. The driver handed her paper. Marilyn wrote, follow your dreams. Marilyn Monroe. An ironic note, because her own dreams had died that night at the Waldorf. Marilyn returned to Los Angeles, to her Brentwood house. But it didn't feel like a home anymore. It felt like a tomb. And 13 days later, that house would become a real tomb. August 5, 1962. Marilyn's last 13 days. Each day she faded a little more, darkened a little more. August 5, 1962. Marilyn's last 13 days. Each day she faded a little more, darkened a little more. August 5, 1962. Marilyn's last 13 days. Each day she faded a little more, darkened a little more. August 5, 1962. Marilyn Fund. Alone. Phone not ringing. Nobody calling. August 27. Dr. Greenson, her psychiatrist, came. How are you feeling? Marilyn, I'm fine. Lie. August 30. Peter Lawford called. Invited her to a party. Marilyn refused. I'm too tired. September 2. Joe DiMaggio called. Marilyn, I'm worried. I wanted to hear your voice. Marilyn cried. Joe, what? Nothing. August 4. Last day. Last phone call. Peter Lawford called again. Marilyn, there's a party tonight. Please come. No, Peter. Say goodbye to everyone. Marilyn, what kind of thing to say? Hung up. August 5, 1962. Sunday. Morning. Marilyn by the pool. In the sun. Alone. Noon. Housekeeper Eunice Murray came. I made food. Marilyn, I'm not hungry. Evening. Marilyn retreated to her room. Locked the door. Midnight. Silence. 3:30 a.m. Eunice checked the door. Locked. 3:40 a.m. Looked through the window. Marilyn in bed. Motionless. 3:50 a.m. They broke down the door. Marilyn Monroe was dead. They examined everything. Diaries, letters, photos, and in her suitcase they found an envelope. It read, to whoever finds this. They opened it, read it, and closed it. Quickly, because that letter was too painful to publish. That letter tore away Marilyn Monroe's mask, and underneath was only pain. 60 years later, in 2022, that letter went to auction. A collector bought it for $1.5 million, but never published it, because he respected Marilyn's wish. Remember me, as Norma Jeane, Marilyn had said. Today people remember Marilyn Monroe, her beautiful face, her sexy smile, her iconic dresses, but very few remember Norma Jeane, the broken girl, the lonely woman, the person whose dreams were shattered. On the night of August 23, 1962, at the Waldorf Astoria, Marilyn Monroe buried her dreams. Her body lived 13 more days, but her soul died that night, because when a person loses hope, even if they continue living, they're actually dead. This story doesn't have a happy ending, because Marilyn Monroe's story doesn't have a happy ending. In that hotel room, that night, something broke, and it never healed. People ask, why did Marilyn Monroe die? Official report, barbiturate overdose, probable suicide. But the real answer is more complex. Marilyn died because she couldn't live. She couldn't live as Marilyn Monroe. She couldn't live as Norma Jeane. She was lost between the two. And perhaps the most tragic truth, that night, in that hotel room, Marilyn asked for help. She asked silently, but nobody heard, because everyone saw Marilyn Monroe. Nobody saw Norma Jeane. When dreams die, they make no sound. They die silently, in darkness, alone, just like Marilyn Monroe died that night at the Waldorf Astoria. The body lived 13 more days, but the soul, that night, in that silence, was extinguished forever.